Before you listen, if you enjoy the stories and want to hear more, then please consider subscribing. Most of you listening aren't subscribed, so please take this time to subscribe. Turn on notifications so you'll never miss a story and be the first to hear. You'll also be supporting me. Thank you. Let me tell you, popping on the dark web to browse around out of curiosity is a huge mistake that I sorely regret. My dumb self learned that the hard way recently when I let my buddy talk me into clicking some mysterious link that totally frightened my computer. Now I can't stop getting these super creepy anonymous letters that have me paranoid out of my mind. It all started when my buddy sent me this sketchy looking link and was like, dude, you gotta check out what I found lurking on the dark web. It's totally wild. I should have just deleted it right away, knowing his weird interests in fringe online spaces. But truth is, I was curious what was on this so-called dark web that has everyone whispering. I figured I'd just take a quick peek and immediately bounce. Harmless, right? So late one bored night when I couldn't sleep, I decided to finally click on the dark web link my buddy had sent me. I used this janky anonymous browser he said would prevent tracking. At first, it just looked like your standard creepy website full of computer code and technobabble. Nothing too crazy. But then I made the mistake of clicking something that took me to this site containing the most twisted, disturbing videos that seriously made me sick to my stomach. Not gonna describe what I saw, but it was the most deranged stuff you can imagine. In a moment of shock and stupidity, I hastily clicked on another link on that awful site, thinking it would redirect me somewhere less messed up. But as soon as I clicked the link, some weird stuff started happening to my laptop. The screen glitched out and turned bright blue with wild code flashing by like something out of a hacker movie. I got this horrible sinking feeling that I had just gotten infected by ransomware or something. I force restarted my computer, but when it loaded again, I could tell stuff was very wrong. All my personal files and photos were just gone, completely deleted off the hard drive, and my desktop background was changed to this deeply disturbing image I won't even describe. At that point, I freaked out and immediately unplugged my infected computer to stop whatever malware was destroying it. But it was too late, I guess, because over the next few days, really strange tech things kept happening. My internet was sluggish and most sites took forever to load. I ran full antivirus scans, but they found nothing. Then I started getting these super creepy anonymous emails full of bizarre gobbledygook text and more freaky images. The emails never directly threatened me, but something felt very off about them. About a week after the computer infection, things got even more unsettling. I started finding strange USB flash drives left in my mailbox containing heavily encrypted files I couldn't access or open, no matter what I tried. I knew that I was being actively messed with, but I didn't understand how serious it was or who was behind it. Then yesterday, when I went to check my mail after work, I discovered a single plain white envelope sitting there with no return address or markings of any kind. My hands trembled as I ripped it open, shredding what might be inside. There was a small piece of white paper with just 2 chilling words neatly printed in black ink. We're watching. Reading those 2 bone-chilling words made my blood run cold. I frantically looked around outside, but saw no signs of anyone watching me. Just knowing someone had hand-delivered this note to my mailbox as a threat heightened my panic. After finding that first terrifying note, over the next few days my mailbox kept filling up with similar creepy handwritten letters appearing daily, each with different threatening messages like, "You can't hide from us," and "We see you when you sleep." The notes were always placed prominently on top of my mail pile so I couldn't miss them. With each new letter, my paranoia went deeper into overdrive. I became flat out terrified to be alone in my own home after dark. I knew this had to be connected to that infected dark website I mistakenly clicked weeks earlier. But the threats had followed me from online to my real physical mailbox. These people knew where I lived now. I started noticing strange cars slowing down when they drove past my house at night. I never got a good look at the occupants inside, but I imagined predators watching me, maybe taking photos. My anxiety went through the roof wondering when they'd make a move. I didn't even know specifically who we was referring to in the letters. Hackers, organized cyber criminals, violent psychos. All I knew for sure was clicking that one fateful link had apparently put me directly in some predator's crosshairs, and now they were intent on terrorizing me relentlessly for sinister fun. I was constantly anxious that whoever was leaving the notes would show up at my door in the middle of the night. I hardly slept anymore, laying awake listening intensely for any intruders trying to break in. Every creak of the old house made me jolt upright in a total panic. I found myself compulsively checking the locks over and over, but still didn't feel safe. My buddy still thinks it's funny, saying it's probably just some prank by white hat hackers trying to teach me a lesson. But I fail to see the humor when I'm obsessively checking over my shoulder and jumping at every little noise, too freaked out to eat or function normally. This goes way beyond just messing with me. Someone truly evil has me targeted now thanks to my stupid mistake. I never should have clicked that dark web link my buddy sent. Curiosity literally cursed me. I'll truly never feel safe online or even at home again after getting sucked into this terrifying cat and mouse game with some faceless predator. It was supposed to just be a quick, harmless peek into the dark web, but it opened a portal to darkness that I can't close again. Man, I never should have gone messing around on the dark web. My dumb friend Jason was the one who put the idea in my head in the first place. He's always trying to get me to do sketchy stuff online with him. Usually I'm smart enough to say no way, but this time I gotta admit I was curious what the whole dark web thing was about. Curiosity killed the cat, I guess. Jason came over one night, and we were just chilling, having a few beers like usual. Out of nowhere, he starts going on about the dark web and how you can find all kinds of messed up stuff on there if you use this special anonymous browser he has. I was skeptical at first. I figured it was probably mostly urban legends and crap. But Jason kept going on about how he's been on the dark web a bunch of times himself and seen everything from illegal gun and drug sales to creepy videos you can't unsee. He knew he piqued my curiosity and was egging me on to go on and look for myself. After a few beers, Jason dared me to get on the dark web and do some exploring since I didn't believe him. Part of me thought he was still full of it, but I guess I was curious enough to call his bluff. I was like, alright dude, show me this so-called dark web then. Jason gets all excited and tells me to download the Tor browser he uses that keeps you untraceable. He even gave me a bunch of random dark web links to start poking around. Against my better judgment, later that night at home, I downloaded the browser and hesitantly clicked on the first dark web link Jason gave me. At first it was a bunch of dead ends and weird codey-looking sites I didn't understand. Seemed like a ton of technobabble and forums just for hackers and programmers. I kept clicking around, but wasn't finding anything too creepy at first. But the further I ventured in, the weirder it got. I landed on some forums where people were talking about really messed up illegal stuff they were into. Stuff like making bombs, selling organs and body parts on the black market, planning cyber attacks, freaky stuff, man. It felt eerie reading through people's plans for horrific crimes, knowing there were no cops monitoring this part of the web. I kept nervously clicking deeper into the dark web rabbit hole. That's when I found sites that took me to the most twisted, graphic videos I've ever seen. We're talking footage of people actually being, you know what, in horrific ways. Real messed up psycho killer type stuff way worse than any horror movie. I couldn't believe this kind of gut-wrenching content was allowed online. Started wondering if maybe I was better off not knowing this evil existed right under the surface. But morbid curiosity got the best of me and I kept exploring further into the dark web, feeling like I was going down an evil rabbit hole. The deeper I went, the more unsettled I felt. My pulse was racing, but I couldn't look away. It was like a bad car accident, gruesome, but I couldn't stop rubbernecking. Then I landed on a site that looked like a full marketplace for hiring assassins and hitmen. It had listings for all these murder-for-hire creeps located in cities everywhere around the world. Each hitman had a profile showcasing their prices, reviews from past customers, and confirmed jobs, like they were just selling sneakers or something, not ending human lives. Seeing those hitmen-for-hire listings shook me bad. My stomach twisted in knots reading about their services so casually offered. I mean, I couldn't believe there were really dudes making big money ending random people just because some anonymous creep pays them in crypto online. No way for the payments to be traced either. It was the perfect crime. The whole thing was so evil and dark, it really messed with my head. These hitmen could be living right next door, and I'd never know their secret lives. I thought about all the unsolved murders in my city and wondered how many were from dark web hits gone undetected. It made me question humanity even more than the other dark content I had come across. After that hitman site, I got off it quick. Having that stuff actually on my computer made me paranoid. like I'd be in danger just for witnessing those sites. I erased all my browser history in my palms, sweating the whole time. Then I stayed up all night freaked out over it. Couldn't shake the thought that I saw something I really should not have seen. When I told my friend Jason the next day, he just laughed at it like it was no big deal. But I wasn't laughing. Getting mixed up in that web underworld really disturbed me in a real way I don't think I'll shake. The images were seared into my brain now. I made Jason swear we both stay far away from it from now on. That stuff rots your soul, man. So yeah, peeking into the dark web was a big mistake I really regret. I think some doors should just stay closed, you know? Curiosity ain't worth the darkness that comes after. I wanted to go back to before I knew such evil existed right below the surface. Now I can only try to avoid falling down that rabbit hole again. I'll definitely stick to the normal internet from now on and leave the creepy hidden spaces to the psychos. I learned my lesson for sure. The dark web changed me, and not for the better. I made a huge mistake going on the dark web because of my dumb curiosity. Ended up finding my actual passport up for sale on there. And I ain't talking about no fake passport either. This was an exact copy of my real one. Same pic, number, birthday, everything. I have no clue how it got there. It's got me freaking out hard. This dark web stuff is no joke. It all started when my buddy was going on about how he found some crazy identity theft sites on the dark web where you can buy fake IDs and passports and stuff. He showed me the special Tor browser to use that keeps you anonymous and sent me a link to get started. I was bored one night, so I figured what's the harm in poking around a little just to see if my buddy was full of it about the dark web. Man, do I regret that decision now. Curiosity really can be dangerous sometimes. The link took me to this sketchy-looking site with a bunch of different categories to browse. I hesitantly clicked around a little, but at first it seemed like typical shady web stuff. Pirated movies, pickpocket techniques, questionable job offers. Nothing I couldn't find somewhere else online if I tried. But then I had the stupid idea to check out the fake document section my buddy had talked up so much. I nervously typed passport into the site's search bar, and that's when my stomach dropped to the floor. The screen filled up with rows of legitimate-looking passport listings from countries all over the world. At first, I thought they were just really convincing Photoshopped fakes. But as I scrolled, I nearly choked when I spotted one that made me freeze up. It was my passport. Like, literally my real-life UMass passport for sale on this site. The profile pic was definitely me, and it had my full name, passport number, birthday, place of birth. Everything was exactly the same as my actual passport info. I would have thought it was a prank if not for the fact they somehow knew all of my personal details. I felt sick instantly. My hands shook and I broke out in a cold sweat. How the hell did these dark web creeps get my real passport to put on here? Was it hacked from some government database? Did someone physically steal it from me? Am I gonna get arrested for this? My mind raced with paranoid questions and panic. I mean, who knows what kind of freak could buy my real passport on here and use it to pretend to be me out there in the world? Full on identity theft. This was way worse than just having your social security number leaked somewhere. I immediately slammed my laptop shut, feeling exposed and violated to my core. But I knew just closing it wouldn't undo the damage. My personal info was still out there for any criminal psycho to buy. The anxiety crushing my chest was unbearable. After pacing my apartment for hours having an utter meltdown, I finally hesitantly opened my laptop again to confront this identity theft nightmare. Sure enough, my shiny new blue passport cover was still for sale on the site, available to the highest bidder with God knows what sinister plans. Seeing it there taunting me only made my heart race faster. I frantically searched through the rows of listings for any of my other IDs or personal docs, terrified of what else these hackers might have stolen. Luckily, it seemed to only be the one passport posted so far. But that alone could be enough to ruin my life if used by the wrong predator. Over the next few days, I could barely eat or sleep, sick to my stomach imagining identity thieves halfway across the world living it up as me. Would I start seeing credit cards and loans in my name I didn't open? Criminal charges under my identity. This was an ongoing nightmare I felt powerless to stop. I tried explaining the devastating situation to the police, but they weren't any help at all. They said there was nothing they could really do to take down the untraceable dark website or track the creeps running it. I just have to monitor for any fraudulent activity going forward. Felt completely hopeless and alone. My buddy still swears it's probably not as bad as I'm thinking. He said the dark web dudes likely just photoshopped my passport as a realistic example and are scamming people out of Bitcoin with fakes. But I'm sure as hell not taking any chances with my identity on the line. As far as I'm concerned, all my personal documentation is compromised forever now thanks to the dark web. I'm already looking into the long process of changing my passport, driver's license, social security card, everything. It's a logistical and expensive nightmare, but I brought it on myself by giving in to curiosity about that sketchy hidden cyber underbelly. Consider me forever warned away from the dark web. At least until I get a handle on this identity theft disaster, and hopefully get my passport removed from that creepy site. If that's even possible, I may just have to accept my old identity as lost cause.
Thanks for listening in. If you like these stories and want to hear more, then please subscribe and like and support this new channel. We have more stories for you to listen to.